When you're taking a spirit animal quiz, I have the sneaky suspicion that I've already done this for the channel. I don't remember when or what episode I've done it for, but I just thought it'd be fun if I did a spirit animal guide or a spirit animal quiz, just because I thought it was I don't know, I felt in the mood for it. I was kind of I don't think I've ever done a quiz on the podcast before. Although I do get the feeling that I have done it. I can't recall right now. But anyways, I think it'd be kind of fun to see and maybe compare my answers or whatnot. So these quizzes are usually pretty quick. They're not long or whatever, but I feel it'd be kind of cool to do multiple of them. So I have two quizzes I'm going to try out and do. So I'll try my best to make it as engaging as possible. But anyways, this first spirit animal quiz is only 7 questions long or whatever. So anyways, starting off, what's your favorite natural element? Air, earth, fire, water, wood, and space. My favorite natural element's probably water. Yeah, who doesn't? You literally need water to survive. I like air, but you know what I mean? It's earth as well. I mean, they're all cool. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong with any of these, but I don't know, something about water is just water literally makes everything awesome, you know? Without water, air wouldn't be as great without water. Earth wouldn't be as great without water. Fire is great without water, but it just burns things, you know what I mean? It's every now and then you need to cool off. Wood wouldn't grow without water. And space without water, you know what I mean? It's just a crime. So I'm going to go with water. Water it is. Okay, what's next? I feel it's okay. So these are the things with these kinds of quizzes, is that they always give you it says very accurate, fairly accurate, somewhat inaccurate, very inaccurate. And I feel most of the time I would be I guess pretty neutral about it, but whatever. I feel at peace with myself most of the time. Fairly accurate. I tend to be more down to earth and head in the clouds. Somewhat inaccurate. I like my head in the clouds somewhat. I find it easy to approach others. Somewhat inaccurate. I frequently do things without a specific schedule or plan. Somewhat inaccurate. I will loosely plan things or schedule things, but I wouldn't say I frequently do that. Do I frequently do that? Sometimes. Maybe fairly accurate. I frequently do things without a specific schedule or plan. Yeah. The typical ordinary way feels like a portrayal of myself. There's nothing wrong with doing things the ordinary way, but is it betraying myself to do things like everybody else? Sure, fairly accurate. I frequently come up with ideas or solutions out of nowhere. They tend to just be the most easy or basic solutions, I guess. I don't know. I frequently come up with ideas or solutions out of nowhere. I don't know. Fairly accurate, I would say. The more useful I am to others, the happier I am. Sure, very accurate. Who doesn't like to be useful? I spend a lot of time observing before I act. Depends on the situation, right? They're not giving me a lot of context here. You know what I mean? If somebody's getting beaten, you know what I mean? I don't just observe it and then I guess you have to see it first, right? Figure out the situation, I guess. But I don't know. There has to be a line, right? And it also depends on who's getting mugged or getting beaten up, right? If it's a guy, then sometimes I guess he has to handle that on his own, you know? But if it's a woman, you gotta step in there. I guess that's fairly accurate. I guess I observe before I act. I have to make sure I'm making the right decision before I get in there. But sometimes you just gotta act. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta just jump in there. I like to be impressive to others. Yeah, very accurate. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to be impressive or to show off your skills or your abilities to others. I think that's a kind of a universal feeling, is that you like to show off a bit, or you like to be good at something and to prove it to others, I guess, or have others see it. I'm always looking for new things to experience. Um, I mean, am I looking for it? Always looking for new things to. I mean, at what point do you start like just liking things? You know what I mean? If you're always looking for new things to experience, you're never gonna have like one thing that you're really good at. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's somewhat. See, this is why you need like a neutral button because it's like it's not 100% accurate, sure, but it's also not like 100% true. I'll go fairly accurate. I am looking for new things to experience. So, moving on. I live a fast-paced existence. No, not even. I mean, I would like to. So, somewhat inaccurate. How would you rather spend your free time? I'd go outdoors and walk or hike in a park nearby. I mean, they're just gonna say a bunch of things that I could that I would like to spend my free time doing, but let's be real here. We can't all find the time to go like on hikes and to the park nearby. But anyways, building something or engaging in a creative activity like arts and crafts, that's also something I like to do in my free time. Playing video games or watching a movie at home, that's majority of the time what I spend doing. You know what I mean? Because it's just my natural life, I guess, or like my domestic life being. Getting together with my friends and having fun going out, I also like to do that. Reading my favorite book or website in bed or on my couch, I often do that. Not the book, more so the website or like reading different articles or columns that like interest me. That pop up on my I guess on my social media feed when sometimes there's a story that's like, ooh, this is pretty interesting. Or when I listen to like a podcast, like a true crime podcast, and then I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to learn more about this. You know what I mean? Or a documentary. There'll be like like a true crime or a they'll be like they'll do like a docu-series and then it'll be like based on a real story and then I'll be like, oh, let me read what the real story is and see how that's going, and then I'll be interested in like the docu-series and then I'll watch the docu-series and then it becomes like that, right? Like I'll read a website or I'll read something online and then I'll scroll through that and I'll read that for a while. But anyways, how would I rather spend my free time? So it's not saying like, because for the most part I naturally like just to like do whatever. I'll usually like watch a movie or play video games. Like that's what I would usually do, right? But this is asking what would I rather, do as opposed to like what you normally do. So because what I normally do is just play video games or watch a movie at home. But I guess I would rather getting together with friends and have fun going out. Yeah, because getting together with friends could mean any number of things. You could go outdoors, you could build something creative, you could play video games, you could read a book together, right? Like those are all the kind of things that you could do. So I feel like getting together with friends and have fun going out, that works for me. I require lots of time alone to recharge. I would say yes, but then again, I don't. It's not that I don't socialize. It's more so that it's like, I don't know. How do you know that you need you can't know that you need a lot of alone time to recharge unless you like have no time for yourself, right? Like you have to be in that constant thing. But like when I was in school or like in college or whatever, is like I never felt that I needed like a whole lot of alone time to like face the day or to go to class or whatever. But then I always did have like time to myself, like when I was commuting or like in between classes. Like I wasn't really like, I don't know, I guess socializing a lot. I don't know. I'm gonna say somewhat inaccurate. I think lots of time alone to recharge. Nah, I think that's somewhat inaccurate, or possibly very inaccurate. I think I've had plenty of time to be alone. I don't need to recharge it. Or if I am in a situation where it's like a lot of people, it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to take an hour for myself in order to like regroup. It's like, no, I'm good to go whenever. I'm cool at that. So I would say very inaccurate, actually. I don't require a lot of alone time. I mean, Obviously, you have some alone time, but like I don't think I require it. It's not like a necessity. I seek out the secret of the universe. Very inaccurate. I isn't that that's not a part of the. I don't seek it out. It'd be cool to know, right? But it's not like something I'm like deeply interested or passionate about. It's just kind of like, hey, we're here, you know? Might as well make the best of it, you know what I mean? So anyways, quiz is over and it says you're the wolf. What it means to be the wolf. The power of the wolf brings forth instinct, intelligence, appetite for freedom, and awareness of the importance of social connections. When the wolf shows up in your life, pay attention to what your intuition is telling you. What's the wolf's message? Let's see what that says. Wolf spirit animal. The wolf offers some of the most striking animal meanings in the realm of spirit animals. The power of the wolf brings forth instinct. All right, I already read all that. The animal can also symbolize fear of being threatened and lack of trust. When the wolf shows up in your life, pay attention. Positive symbolism of the spirit of the wolf spirit animal. Sharp intelligence. Yeah. Deep connection with instincts. Sure. Appetite for freedom. Yes. Courage and resilience. Okay. Wisdom, insight, inner wisdom, community and connection, leadership, determination, adaptability. Hey, we don't even need to get into the negative symbolism, but you know what? Let's see what it says. Isolation. Okay. Greed and selfishness. I mean, I can be selfish. Dishonesty or deception. I mean, I do be dishonest at times. Feeling threatened. Does that mean like I feel threatened or like I make others feel threatened? Feeling threatened. I mean, sure. Lack of trust in someone or in yourself. Okay. I mean, I feel like everybody has a little bit of doubts. Dominance. I mean, control. Well, I mean, who doesn't like a little bit of control over their lives? You know what I'm saying? But whatever. It's important to embrace both the positive and negative aspects of the wolf's spirit animal. See, you see what I'm talking about? It's like I'm embracing it. You know what I mean? I'd be isolated. I'd be greedy. I can be deceptive. I can feel threatened. You know what I mean? I can lack trust in someone or in myself. I sometimes assert dominance at times and control. You know, it's all about a balance. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I think that's enough of that. The second quiz. All right, so that was the first quiz. I got the wolf. All right, dope. You know what I mean? Lovely. You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a cool animal. Anyways, second quiz. Where would you most like to spend your free time? In a park? On top of a mountain? Near a pond? In a forest? In a cave? In the desert? All right, if you choose in a cave or at the desert, you're crazy. All right? Who actively chooses to be in those places? I'm not talking about like a one-time vacation. Like if you go to the desert to ride dune buggies and whatnot, like that's cool. You know what I mean? But like that's maybe like a one-time trip. They're asking like where you would like to spend most of your time. You know what I mean? So I would say on top of a mountain, so that way you can like see a great view. I'm sure there's all kinds of cool stuff up there. And you also have like a bunch of rocks, maybe some trees up there, maybe a nice pond or like a lake nearby because it's at the top, you know what I mean? Of the following, which do you think is the worst quality in a person? Uh-oh, here we go. Belligerence, obliviousness, impatience, stupidity, cruelty, weakness. So, belligerence, no. Obliviousness, I mean, people be oblivious sometimes. Impatience, now there's a big one. People who are impatient, and I often, get impatient at times, and then I realize that, like, man, if I only just, like, took it easy and just like was a little bit more patient, things wouldn't be like so up in my head. Stupidity, no. Cruelty, people who are unusually cruel. Now that's probably the worst one, isn't it? People who are just like, imagine, I'm not even talking about towards people. Like if you're cruel towards like animals and stuff, it's like, bro, come on. Like, you ever see, dude, I'm not saying like I looked this up. It was just something that like people were upset about. Somebody threw like a cat in the air and then it hit the ground and it started crying. I was like, bro, what the, like that's cruelty. Like that's what I think about. You know what I mean? Like that's the worst quality in a person. What is the best quality a person can have? Kindness, bravery, intelligence, intuition, attentiveness, willpower. So kindness, I feel like kindness kind of gets like, it's spread so thin because so many people can like get there. Bravery is a good one because it goes against like, I guess some natural instincts of like, you know that your bravery or like, I don't know what I heard this quote from, but it was like courage or bravery is only real when you're the only one who knows you're scared. You know what I mean? It's like you don't tell people that you're scared. It's like that's real bravery or that's real courage or whatever. Intelligence, I mean, there are some smart people who are bad. Intuition, I mean, bad people can have a good intuition. I don't know. Attentiveness, I mean, it depends. Willpower, I don't know. I'm gonna say bravery. People who are brave usually have like are risking themselves for something, I think. But willpower, people who like have a drive about them. People who are like naturally make things happen, I guess. I don't know. They're all really good. You know what I mean? But I think I'm gonna go with bravery. People who are brave. What do you worry people will think about you? Oh boy. Belligerent and cruel, ugly and conniving. I don't care what people think. Pretty but dumb, proud and mean, old and worthless. Ooh. Damn. I mean, I'm not, old, so don't need to worry about that one. I don't care what people think. I think on some level, some people care what people think. Pretty but dumb. I mean, I'm not dumb. Proud and mean. Ugly and conniving. Belligerent and cruel. Proud and mean. I think proud and mean is probably... Well, think about me. I guess ugly and conniving. I don't know, dude. Ugly and conniving. Why not? Ugly and conniving, yeah. I feel like that's a bad one. If you could tell your younger self one of the following, which would it be? You need to focus more on your personal development. You need to focus more on building your life. Don't let people walk all over you. You need to get a useful skill. You should always go with your heart over your head. You need to reflect more deeply on your actions and their consequences. Ooh. It's always tough when you think about like what I would tell my younger self, but I think it's maybe B. You need to focus more on building your life. Yeah, there are a couple of things that I wish I had started earlier on. So I think that's a good one. Like, imagine if I started this podcast earlier. You know what I mean? I feel like those are the kinds of things I'm thinking about. Is to like focus on building the things that you're already gonna end up doing anyways. You might as well get started now. So I think you need to focus on building your life. Yeah. If you could change one thing about the world, which would you choose? I would improve the education system so we can pass our wisdom more efficiently. I would make sure that everyone has an employable skill. I would try to make sure that everyone in the world was safe from evil. I would become the leader of a global republic and make the world a better place under my rule. I would make everything more structured and practical. I would make it more beautiful and easy. Well, I wouldn't become the leader of a global republic. That's a given. improving the education system is good, but look, dude, getting involved with the system is going to cause all kinds of problems, and it doesn't like get everybody like a job per se. You know what I mean? But it would make everybody access to good education, which I think is a good thing. But I don't know how you do that on a global scale. But if I could do anything, I did say that. I would try to make sure that everyone in the world was safe from evil. I mean, yes, that is very good, but somebody's gonna be evil. You know what I mean? It's just the fact of life. You know, it's always gonna be people who do bad things. I would make it more beautiful and easy. No, I mean, if it were easy, then life wouldn't have any challenges, and you wouldn't become, I guess, the best version of yourself. I would make everything more structured and practical. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things that we do that are impractical, that make no sense. I definitely would like to add some structure. So I think it's between, I would make sure that everyone has an employable skill. I mean, what does that even mean? Because, like, you could work a minimum wage job and that's employable. You don't need any skills for that. You know what I mean? It doesn't say that everybody gets a high-paying employable skill. So I think I would make everything more structured and practical. I would make things like housing a lot more ecologically practical. You know what I mean? So that way we don't emit as many carbon emissions. Our carbon footprint would be like a lot lower than what it is now. And I think that would be a really cool thing, to make things structured in that way, make things more practical, you know, make things like simpler. I think I would go with that one. And by making everything more structured and practical, you would improve the education system. You would like make probably, you know, the judicial system or criminal law and persecutions like a lot more practical and more structured, so that things follow like a pretty simple system or a pretty simple thing. So I don't know. I think I would go with that one. I would make everything more structured and practical. There we go. Which do you believe is the world's most important issue that needs to be dealt with today? Okay. War. I mean, yeah, don't get me started on that. Incompetent political leadership. Fix that and everything else will fall into place. Climate change. Homelessness. Illness and poverty. So let's start with the big one, war. Okay. Is that the most important issue? I mean, it's awful, you know, that we have to resort to violence to maintain any kind of peace or to dominate or to show strength. But I think there's always going to be conflict. You know, there's never going to be any time where it's like, hey, we're all going to be happy and at peace with each other. Incompetent political leadership. There's always going to be incompetent political leadership. Always. It's just a way that things go. And fixing it doesn't automatically make everything else fall into place. So no. Climate change. Climate change is a huge one because, I mean, if we don't preserve the planet, then we're just going to be destroyed. Homelessness. There are a lot of homeless people out there. And I think if we could afford them houses or a place to live, then they would naturally have like their basic needs met and they wouldn't have to struggle to survive. They could afford to, I don't know, look for a job or not have to worry about paying rent and whatnot or having somewhere to call home. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, everybody has to work for it. I guess they have to earn it, I guess. Illness. Now, that's a huge one because getting sick is never, well, almost never everybody's fault. Like when I think illness, I'm thinking like cancer. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like, I'm not talking like a common flu or like whatever. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like the big stuff, the things that you're like, oh, I didn't know I had that, or you go to the doctor and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we ran some tests and we realized you have lung cancer. It's like, I never smoked a day in my life. Well, sad to say, it's like, you know what I mean? But do I think that's the biggest issue? I think that we could definitely spend more on it, spend some more time on it, but I don't think it's like the biggest issue. Poverty. I mean, poverty's a huge issue as well. These are all big issues, but which one do I think is the biggest? Honestly, the biggest one that needs to be dealt with is I think climate change, because if we're going to keep on living this life, if we're going to keep on living here, we need to take care of the planet first and foremost. We need to take care of home. If we don't do that, then we're not really dedicated to long-term, living. What are we leaving for our kids to deal with? You know what I mean? Eventually it's going to come down to that, where it's like, hey, we got to start fixing things. Otherwise we're ruined, so I say climate change. But war. I think that's a huge issue, but there's always going to be conflict. Climate change, I think that's something that the whole planet, everybody in the world can like come together and agree upon that, like, this planet goes down, if it starts sinking, then we need to find a solution to fix it. So, climate change, I think. If you were stuck in a cave without light for a whole year, what would you do to keep yourself from going insane? Stuck in a cave without light for a whole year. Oh my goodness. I would try to make the cave as comfortable as possible. I would make plans for the future, beginning with catching the person who trapped me in a cave. I would have imaginary conversations with my family and friends. I would think of all the best memories I have ever had. I would spend the entire time finding a way out of the cave. I would play chess with myself in my head. Oof. I wouldn't play chess with myself in my head. Spend the entire time, well, I'm trapped in there for the year, right? Like, if I spend all my time trying to find a way out of the cave, I'll go nuts, and I can't see anything. So how will I know if I'm... But at the same time, it would give me a purpose in the cave. So digging or like, I don't know, moving rocks out of the way could give me some sort of a purpose. I'm assuming that I don't have to worry about food or like using the bathroom. Like, let's just say for the sake of conversation, like, I don't have to worry about all of that stuff. I'm just in there for a year. You know what I mean? Thinking of the best memories I have ever had. Honestly, I think I would have imaginary conversations with my family and friends. I mean, imagine just being trapped down there for a year with nothing. Yeah, imaginary conversations. I'll go crazy, but hey, it'll get me through it. What law would you pass that every single person had to follow on pain of life imprisonment? What law would you pass that every single person had to follow on pain of life imprisonment? Okay. Complete and utter freedom of speech with no recourse to debate. Every leader must provide free third-level education. Everyone must pay their debts on time. No littering. Every country's leader must provide a home to its citizens. No one can claim to rule anyone else without their explicit permission. Complete and utter freedom. I mean, that's going to be hotly debated, freedom of speech. Every leader must provide free third-level education. I mean, yes, but man, these are crazy. Everyone must pay their debts on time. I mean, stuff happens. I'm not gonna like force it. No littering. How about no littering, huh? Don't no littering. All right. That's there we go. Every single person had to follow it. No littering. If you could write one of the following books, which would you choose? A sci-fi about a future in which human beings are a space-faring civilization, a biopic about one of history's greatest scientists, a war story about a general who beats an beatable foe, a period drama romance about a teenager growing into an adult, a political intrigue about a twisted leader, a sports hero story about an underdog overcoming the odds. Probably a period drama romance. Yeah, those are always juicy. I'll do that. What is the most important rule to follow in life? Look before you leap. Everything works better when you're part of a team. Everything you do must be done with passion. Work hard and you will reap what you sow. Be kind and gentle. Karma will reward you. Listen before you speak. Work hard and you will reap what you sow. Or everything works better when you're part of a team. Well, everything you do must be done with passion. Work hard and you will reap what you sow. Which of the following is on your bucket list? Visiting every country in the world, settling down and making a family, doing something that will be remembered forever, writing a novel, learning to fly a plane, betting big on the stock market. I guess visiting every country in the world is a big one. Although I just like to travel. I don't know about every country in the world, but I guess I can get pretty damn close. So, yeah. How do you feel in large crowds? I like to be on my own, but I enjoy a crowd with a purpose. I like crowds, but only when I'm with my own group of friends as well. I hate crowds. I usually just find the quietest spot where I can hide. I dislike crowds. There are too many variables. I love large crowds, a flitting between the people in them. I can take them or leave them. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to be, I don't know. I can take them or leave them. Like, they're cool. I don't have a problem with them. But I also, don't really care about them all that much. So, what do other people do that annoys you most? The most? Try to force other people to be happy all the time. Try to change the dynamic of a group to suit them. Try to silence the opinions of those they disagree with. Dwell in their own misery. Make decisions without research. Then get mad when their decisions have adverse consequences. Try to boss me around for no good reason. I mean, these are all pretty annoying. Try to silence the opinions of those they disagree with. Yeah. Which TV show is your guilty pleasure that you would never admit to your friends? Well, I'm about to admit it to my podcast. But then again, nobody listens to this, so. Gilmore Girls, Love Island, Bear Grylls Survivor, Design on a Dime, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, The Real Housewives of Orange County. Probably The Real Housewives of Orange County. Of the following, what's the worst piece of advice that is generally accepted as good advice? Get a good degree and you'll get a job in an ever-changing world that there are no guarantees. Try everything. If you do that, you will never master anything. Always do the right thing. Sometimes the right thing has terrible consequences and vice versa. Look after number one first. That's how you end up alone. Do what's in your heart. Your heart is stupid and emotional. Follow your dreams. That's a surefire way to end up poor. I mean... I think look after number one. That's like good advice, but you'll never that's a wrong way of looking at things, I guess. Of the following, which is your favorite movie? Rocky, Enemy, Coach Carter, Kill Bill, Birdman, Seven. Damn, these are some pretty good movies. I would say Kill Bill. Do I get both of them or just the one? They're both great. And because of that, I'm going to take out Kill Bill because they're not giving me part one or part two. Birdman, I mean, I like it. It's just, Enemy. Enemy's a really good movie. Coach Carter's also another good movie. I'm gonna go with Rocky. Rocky. Gotta do it. Is there anything, no matter how horrible, that you think everyone should try? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Eating snails? I mean, that's not... That you think everyone should try once. Working as a laborer, an advanced mathematics course, base jumping, butchering their own meat, going on a survival month in the wilderness. Though I think everyone should try once. I mean, I'm not going to force vegans to eat snails. Maybe, I guess, survival month in the wilderness. It'll at least give you some sense of like, hey, this is how you can do it or whatever. That or base jumping. I think base jumping would be pretty funny. So base jumping it is. Which word would your friends most likely use to describe you? Determined, bubbly, brave, clever, hardworking, patient. I would say clever. They would call me clever. Which word do you wish they used to describe you? Wise, clever, ambitious, fun. I don't care what words they use, kind, fun. Fun. What do you feel is your biggest responsibility? My work, encouraging others, making enough to feed my family, self-actualization, teaching my kids, making decisions that are best for my whole family. I feel is my biggest responsibility, making decisions that are best for my family. You walk into an interior design shop and they have a machine that will make your home smell like anything you want. What smell do you choose? Crisp mountain air, coffee, moss and fresh rain, fresh cut grass, tree bark, pine trees. Those are my only options? Okay. Okay, well, it's between pine trees or moss and fresh rain. Because that just smells fantastic. But I don't know, what does moss smell like? I guess I haven't been around it as much. Is it good? Hopefully it's good with the fresh rain. But every single time, I guess I would get bored of it in my home. Pine trees? I'm going to go with pine trees. That's like Christmas trees, right? I'll go with that. What mistake do you make most often? I put the needs of others before my own, which usually causes issues for me. I'm too trusting of strangers. I don't make mistakes. I never let anyone get close enough to truly know me. I intimidate people with my intelligence. I can be a bit brash, which doesn't exactly help me make new friends. I never let anyone get too close enough to truly know me. What animals are you most afraid of? Humans are the scariest and deadliest predators on Earth. Raven, bears, I'm not afraid of any animals, lizards, wasps. I mean, obviously humans, but I don't think that's what the thing was intending for. So, if I went up against a bear, you better believe I'm out of my mind scared. But I'm not terrified of them. I'm just, like, obviously if they're trying to kill me, I'm afraid of them, but like, I'll go with the bear. But obviously humans, right? Like, I think we're all pretty much afraid of each other, but like, if I was in the woods and a bear was coming to attack me, yeah, I'd be afraid of it. But a bear by itself, no, I'm not afraid of animals in general, but like wasps are bugs, and I feel like most people have like a general hatred of bugs. You know what I mean? But anyways, bears. They're deadly creatures. But anyways, but humans are the scariest. I guess I would be more afraid of humans, huh? All right, let me put humans. Even though bears, but humans, yeah. If you were going to be stranded on a desert island, what 3 things would you bring? A great book, some seeds to plant food, and a water purifier. Okay. A toolbox, a knife, and some rope. An e-reader filled with every book ever published, a bottle of Pinot Grigio, and a parasol. If I'm going to die, I might as well go out in style. Enough food to last a couple of weeks, some rope, and a Swiss Army knife. A bundle of rope, a steel chair, and whoever thinks they can keep me on a desert island. Some jet fuel, a jet, and my pilot's license. That's funny. I mean, if I'm stranded there, a good book, some seeds to plant food, and a water purifier. Yeah. What is your favorite natural element? Air, earth, water, fire, space, and wind. Isn't wind part of air? I'm gonna do water again. Yeah, water. I feel comfortable in my own skin most of the time. How much do you agree with this statement? Agree. Somewhere in the middle. Kind of agree. Strongly agree. I'll just do agree. Regular agree. I want to be completely original in everything I do. How much do you agree with or disagree with this statement? I agree. I like it when other people compliment me. How much do you agree or disagree with this statement? I kind of agree. Depends on what they're complimenting me for. What is your favorite genre of music? Metal, pop, classical, house, dance, rock. I mean pop music. Pop music. And that includes a bunch of other music as well. So, anyways, all right, that was the last one. Man, that was a long one. I should have done that one first. Anyways, you are a lion. Wow. You take pride in your friends and family and would protect them at all costs. You are a natural born leader. You have a strong distaste for ineffective leadership in others, and you're not afraid to challenge the status quo. Hey, I'll take it. So, lion and wolf. I don't know, but cool stuff. Cool stuff. Happy about it. And, you know, hey, those were pretty good. Some pretty good questions. I like the second one better than the first one. The first one was too short. It's too quick, I think. But anyways, overall, lion and wolf, simple, easy. What can I say? What can I say? But you can't really trust these things anyways. What if they say one thing, but then it leads to like another one? You know what I mean? Like, how close was I to being like another animal? You know, I wish they showed that as like, if you chose this option, but whatever. In the end, that's what it is. And you guys can go take this quiz yourself. I just looked up spirit animal on Google, and the second one was Haywise, and the first one was spirit animal info. So if you want to do it yourself, go ahead. But that's it. Spirit animal quiz. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.